All right, so I chose punishing choices, challenges of mandated reporting. This is a pretty tough area. So yeah, I'll just jump right into it. This is a pretty interesting case study. They the context is it's a new teacher and she moved to a new community. She's from New Jersey, I think is what it was, and she moved to Tennessee, Memphis area. The community is pretty open about corporal punishment, so they're okay with the that kind of punishment at home. It's actually legal in the schools, which is surprising. Some of the schools opt out of it, but it's there to say it's legal. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. The family's choice of disciplinary actions, is it abuse or not abuse? It's a tough line for some people, and it's hard to prove one way or another. If it's abuse, will reporting to the DCS, which is Department of Children's Services, will that make things better or worse for that student? Um, I mean, ideally, you think it'd be making things better, but the foster system's not always the better situation for some kids. So, what happens if a mandated reporter does not report? We'll go over that as well. Um, so, background law and ethics. A mandated reporter in the state of Tennessee is everyone in Tennessee is mandated. So, any person with reasonable cause to believe a child being abused or neglected must, under the law, immediately report to the Tennessee Department of Children's Services or to local law enforcement. Thought that was pretty cool. Also, feel like it might not be as strict if that's the case. I mean, whenever somebody has the position, like here, it's if you're a teacher, you're a mandated reporter, so you have to report it. Everybody knows that that position has to do it. If somebody's out and about um, and sees it, they're not going to think they have the authority to do that. But maybe in Tennessee, it's a different situation, and they all understand that they have a duty to report it. That'd be awesome if that's the case. Corporal punishment. In Tennessee, there's actually no law against spanking your children. If it leaves, this is what the Department of Children's Services say, though. They say if it leaves visible marks, the Department of Children's Services can investigate. DCS said if you choose to use corporal punishment, never use an object such as a belt, board, or switches. And it's actually, like I said earlier, illegal in schools, but most choose not to do it. Which is crazy because the stories are like my parents are always saying what happened to them whenever they're at school if they got in trouble. Times have changed. Background law and ethics continued. I just went in to show the abuse, what the definitions were of all of them. So there's physical abuse, which is non-accidental physical trauma or injury inflicted by a parent or caretaker on a child. That was defined by the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. Same with neglect. The failure to provide for a children's physical survival needs to the extent that there is harm or risk of harm to the child's health or safety. And I went in and added the psychological harm because I feel like that is something that's overlooked quite a bit. People can have psychological harm and not even know they're in the situation, and they can also have it and know they're in a situation, but it's hard to prove that that's the reason or that's where the harm is coming from. So psychological harm is a repeated pattern of caregiver behavior or extreme incidents that convey to children that they are worthless, flawed, unloved, unwanted, endangered, or only of value in meeting others' needs, and may include both abusive acts against a child and failure to act, or neglectful behavior when age-appropriate action is required for a child's health development. Long definition. But it's just crazy how a person's actions can lead to psychological harm. And I mean, sometimes the person that's doing it is so deep into it that they don't even realize that they are doing it to everybody. It'd be hard to explain to them that they're actually harming somebody in that way. Analysis. So in this situation, the teacher has a student that has bruises. It's looking like it might be more than just corporal punishment, because the student had came in before and had like scratches or something like that, and said, "Oh," explained what happened to the mom and stuff like that. This time, the kid is not showing that, has some bruises, and he's been acting differently than normal. He's usually a lively kid, like the sort of like a goofy kid. She talks about how she has a picture of him on Halloween when he's SpongeBob, and he's like the center of the picture. So like he's gonna be the one that gets the attention. And now he's became sullen and volatile. So he's like sad and has outbursts, and he's just not acting like he normally does. She's talking with a coworker about the situation. She has the mom come in, and she talks to the mom, asks if she's noticed the kid being any different at all, and made a comment about the bruises or whatever. And then the mom got pretty defensive and said that she's not abusing her kid, and if she doesn't have the trust from the teacher like she thought she had, she's gonna have to pull her kid and change schools. So got pretty touchy in the subject. The teacher said, no, I'm just worried, not trying to be anything personal, just wanted to make sure and see if you've noticed anything, pretty much. Coworker talked to her, said that, asked her what she's going to do, pretty much. And then she said that she feels like she has to report it. He said pretty much that's not the case. You don't have to report it. And reminded her of a case that he had went through. He reported an abuse situation to the principal, and the principal said that he needed to turn it in. So he went ahead and did that. The kids got taken away from the family. There was 2 kids, I think is what it said, and they got separated, so they weren't even in the same household. And the foster care situation might have been worse than their home situation. So he feels bad about how that went down. He feels like he might have been better off just staying at the house and not doing the whole foster care situation. He went on to explain to her all the challenges with Tennessee DCF. They're behind on cases. They also have 52% of children in foster care experience 2 different placements in their first 6 months. So there's no stability. It's all they're bouncing around, and I feel like that's pretty common between the states. That's not only just Tennessee. So it's hard to get yourself to report something that should be reported, knowing that they could go into these situations and it could actually be worse for them, though. So now that guy, that after he reported that one time, he sort of turned into like an anti-reporter. Like he's only going to report it if it's something that he for sure knows is a situation the kid needs to get out of and that actually be beneficial to them. The principal, though, is a system. He's a part of the foster care system. He got out of an abusive family, went to the foster care, and actually had a success story out of it. So he's a big believer in the system. That's hard to justify both ways. But also a failure to report it is a violation of the law and a Class A misdemeanor, carrying a sentence of up to 3 months imprisonment, a fine, or both. So that's Tennessee's laws on failure to report. Each state can be a little different, but it's a law for a reason. So you're going to have some sort of punishment if you don't report it. So this whole situation with this case is turning into, like, legally she should report it and needs to report it. But if she doesn't think that it's bad enough of a situation for the home life of the child, and she knows the mom loves the child, it's just there's a new boyfriend that came in, it said, there's some situations going on. So if she doesn't feel like it's going to be a better situation for her to report it, it's hard to get somebody to report it in that situation. So yeah, I don't know what legally the right answer is to report it, but morally, I don't know what the right answer is in this situation. Or ethically, I don't know. So that was the case study. Let me know if you have anything to chime in on, and look forward to hearing all your guys' stuff.